And so I'm so thankful. I feel so fortunate. I feel blessed because when you guys see my leg, you're going to see that it's amazing. It's a miracle because I'm not only walking, I'm dancing. I can still do the splits. My leg won't go completely straight, but it's almost straight. So then we have the surgery was the next morning. Now the next morning came and it was early and I went into surgery and came out of surgery and I was all bundled up and they had ice packs on me and everything, and certain people were right there when I came out, and it was so neat, and it was wonderful. And then the recovery time, you have this injury time and there's all this emotion, physical, spiritual, emotional, all of these things are going on and you have no idea the outcome. You don't know what's going to happen. So that's a tough place, and for those of you that are in the middle of this or experiencing this, both of our hearts go out to you because it's not an easy thing to go through. But one thing I can tell you for me personally, when people say, how are you doing? My brain and my head just kept saying, I'm getting better every day. I had to tell myself that every day. And even when I didn't feel like I was getting better, it felt like it wasn't getting any better, I told myself I'm getting better every day. And I believe that that mindset is what keeps you going. It's what keeps you believing. That belief system is so amazingly strong. Being sensitive to those that have issues that go beyond. But I wasn't expected to, and I do believe that God created a miracle through the surgeons with my leg. Because looking at the x-ray, you can see that it's just a miracle that I was able to. But I do believe that our heart, that if we give up hope, that when you give up hope, it can cause major problems and you can go downhill fast.
Absolutely.
Even with cancer, people that believe and people have this hope. And it doesn't mean you don't research. It doesn't mean that you don't get all the knowledge you can possibly get and get the best resources and the best help. Like I asked him if he was the best surgeon. Because if there's a better surgeon, I want a better surgeon. Because I want everybody on guard and on task with me to make sure that I'm going to get the most out of my leg. My leg is not 100%. People say, is your leg 100%? No, it's 110 because I have a metal plate and 10 pins in my leg. But is it 100%? No. Can I do everything that I used to be able to do? No. There's so many things I can't do anymore, or I choose not to. I can't water ski. I can't snow ski. There's a lot of things I can't do. I don't even motorcycle ride. I'm afraid to jar my knee in the wrong way because then he told me I've got 5 years and then I'm going to get an artificial knee. Okay, an artificial knee. That's fine if that's what I need to do. I'm thankful I have medical insurance, and I'm thankful that I'm going to be able to do that, and I'm thankful there's a doctor out there that I'm going to search out and find that's going to be the best there is to do that too. So I understand what you're saying. I totally do, because there are people that, are paralyzed from the neck down, and they can hope all day long, but they're paralyzed from the neck down.
Yeah.
So, but there still is this strength in believing in our Lord and believing that He is a miracle worker, because He can create miracles.
Absolutely.
Just like the baby that we're following along with, that's family member that, was born way too early, and it's amazing the doctors and the facilities that are making that baby, happen. It's amazing.
I think the way to kind of couple those things together,
Please do.
what we're saying is, one is God is a miraculous God, absolutely. I believe that God is so powerful and so capable of miracles, but in that as well, if you don't get your miracle, be somebody else's miracle.
Oh, I love that.
So
that is great.
That's not original, by the way. So don't give me credit for that.
That is awesome, though.
Oh, yeah.
But, you love that, or you wouldn't have remembered it. And that's awesome. That's really good. I love that. Very good. So moving forward from this, I don't want to bore everybody, but I'm just trying to explain this because there's a lot that goes in during this time. The amount of people that came and brought food. I've never been somebody that nobody would want me to bring food. I can cook, and I cook healthy, but it's really not my gift, and everybody knows their gifts. That's not mine. I'll come clean your house. I'm a great house cleaner, but don't ask me to cook, because I don't really enjoy it.
What did you learn from your experience of healing and going through the recovery? What did you learn?
There were so many lessons that I learned. One, that I couldn't have done it alone. I can't do it alone. I needed help. and you helped with getting all the church people and neighborhood to bring food during that time. Even the walker, you know, I mean, I couldn't even take my own cup of coffee because both hands had to be on the walker. Mm-hmm. And the wheelchair to not have brakes on it, or the walker not to have a seat on it, you know. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like people, and I realize too that people just really don't realize what it's like to be in the situation. Wheelchair, going into the bathroom's not so easy, and now I really appreciate that whole scene. It's not easy, and somebody that uses that when someone's got to go, it's really, you know, you really shouldn't do that. And with the walker, if you see somebody on a walker and you are sitting and they are standing, understand that they're probably on one leg. And I did a whole church service standing up because somebody wouldn't give me their seat. I thought that was really, really sad. Really sad.
And I think one of the things you learn, though, too, is that there's just such a lack of awareness. That a lot of times people don't know that they're not being considerate, but they're not considering what they don't know. So once you walk or wheel through this process,
you realize
you're considerate in a way that you didn't mean to be, but just as 2 Corinthians 1 talks about, God says, the God of all comfort comforts us in our affliction, so that, not just so that we can be comfortable, but so that we can comfort others with the comfort that we've received from him. And so it's not just comfort, but it's compassion as well. It says it in the passage that there's a compassion and a comfort that you receive from God so that you can actually pass that on to others. And it is amazing what you do learn, how to have eyes to see, and how to be considerate or how to help. And I remember from my accident, learning or just being
Tell
able
about
to...
your accident first. Explain.
Okay, mine's embarrassing, kind of. I mean, it changed my life, but it's nothing epic.
When I heard this, I
wish
really?
It was epic. You know, I like to motorcycle ride. I was a competitive gymnast and a dancer and all these things. And I got injured and I tore my meniscus playing broom ball. And you're going to ask, what's a broom ball?
Yeah, what is that?
It's kind of like hockey, but you don't have skates and you're just in shoes. So I was doing that and I went down, and it was one of the first times in my life, where when I tried to stand up, I knew my body doesn't work. My leg isn't reliable. And I wish I could say that I sat it out like a really responsible person, but I was out there because I'm very competitive, and it was still icing my knee, so I was still laying on the ice defending my side, and we won. But that's not important at all.
No, it's not.
So anyway.
But to you it was, because you mentioned it.
Yeah, so I tore my meniscus, and I did get a miracle in the sense that the surgeon was able to... I had the same surgeon as my mom, he was just going, you guys are a wreck, man. Your family needs to stop coming into these parts.
I made sure she got my surgeon. I made sure she did, because he did such a great job.
Yeah, it's true. So he was really great, but after going through that, he said he doesn't know if he's going to be able to repair it or have to basically tear out all of my meniscus. And so it was very probable that he was going to have to tear it all out. And when I woke up, he said, I don't even know how this is possible, because usually only 16-year-olds have enough circulation in their knee to be able to repair a meniscus like this, but I was able to repair it, and time will tell if it was successful. And so I just remember being so happy, and it was probably the drugs too. I was like, life is so good. That was the Lord. And everyone probably thought I was nutso, but that was okay. But yeah, I remember when I was walking through the healing process, granted I had already helped my mom through hers, but I will have to admit there were a lot of things that I didn't understand when you were going through your healing, that it made a lot more sense when I was not walking through it.
Right.
And some of those things, I remember my mom saying that she never really knew for sure who her friends were until this accident happened, or just the people who really cared about her. And in my mind, I'll have to admit, I was thinking, well, it's not a point system. I mean, you don't give people gold stars and if they text you enough times or bring you enough food, then they're your good friends, because you can't have these expectations of people and everything like that. So that's where my mind was honestly going when you were saying those things. And then when I went through my own surgery and recovery, the people who showed up, man, they brought tears in my eyes, and I felt so unworthy of their love, and yet I was so thankful because I was surprised by some of the people who didn't show up or didn't even text me or ask. But I kind of turned that mentality into being grateful for those who did rather than being upset with those who didn't. And I just realized, I mean, how can I see the speck in their eye when the log in my own eye was so glaring that I kind of had a similar mentality that it doesn't really matter. I mean, as long as I make sure that my mom has all the food she needs, I didn't think about all the other things. And it was just kind of ignorance. It wasn't a lack of love even. It was just not knowing how to love you, not having an educated view of how to love somebody who is experiencing just an injury or who is paralyzed. It's kind of actually
Like the scripture you said. It's
Yeah.
just that, it's that scripture. And it came full circle.
right,
And you don't know what you don't know.
right.
And I would say that was probably a very healing moment when you came back over here and I got to nurse you once again and be your mama once again. And I just loved it. I loved every second of waiting on you. But I tell you what, you wore me out, girl. You wore me out. I mean, oof.
I was
It's
I was a
exhausting.
fun patient.
You
though,
were a
have to
fun
admit.
patient, but you were exhausting.
So after you go through enough drugs and just sitting and laying and trying to shift around because you don't get very much sleep because you kind of make a tower for your leg to hold it up and
Gotta do that.
there's just
Gotta
so
leave it
many
up.
things that are really
ice
uncomfortable.
it regularly and
I did have a friend come over and I said, you know what, I really don't feel like I'm that much fun of a patient, so can we spice these things up for my mom a little bit? So yes, so my mom went to sleep that night and little did she know I had a little helper, my friend Susan, and we had some popcorn and I said, Susan, you need to make a trail from my mom's room to my room, just kind of like Hansel and Gretel form, just so that she doesn't forget to feed me, just so that she knows where I'm at because maybe she'll forget tomorrow. And so then I decorated the whole, like my mom has these fake plants, like she likes fake plants for some reason.
because I'm not good with real ones. They
Is
die.
that why?
I take good care
Okay,
of them.
so there's this fake tree by me
the truth.
in my room. And so I just put a hat on it. She came in, I put this mask on it. It just looked like a person. It was really ridiculous and it's probably not that funny, but to me, humor was really important during that time of finally being able to laugh. And I remember that night, I put oranges in my little ice
you did.
the ice chest that's supposed to cool my leg. I put
Right.
a bunch of stuff in there so that she'd be surprised. It's really not that funny. However, it was a nice relief, and I remember that night going to bed going, I forgot I was injured for like an hour. I forgot that I'm
feels good.
stuck in bed with nothing to do other than talk to a friend. And I remember too just thinking about how much God had shifted that season of, I'll never forget Valentine's Day. And Valentine's Day, I'm a single girl, and I was thinking, okay, usually on Valentine's Day, I'm not that person who just feels sorry for myself for not being married or whatever. I just remember I love buying flowers for my friends and delivering them for just girls who may not feel loved on Valentine's Day. Or I'll just take everybody for a hike, just so let's get some endorphins going. You feel better after you exercise. And so when I was in my backyard at that time by myself, I just was really struggling because all of my go-to things that were therapeutic and that gave me a lot of pleasure, I couldn't do. And so I remember just crying out to God. That was one of like the hardest moments that I had of just, I don't understand why this is happening. And I know that this is a temporary thing, Lord willing. And some people have to go their whole lives not being able to walk. But help for me to understand what you want me to do with this, and help for me to just learn the lessons that you have for me in this time so that I can be better equipped to serve you with all of this that's going on. And so I remember it being a season of being quiet, like there being a lot of solitude, being still, not just because you wanted to, but you're forced to be still and know that God is God. But it was a blessing. It was bittersweet in that way of being able to spend time with God, pour out my heart to God. And even just in the restless nights where you don't get sleep, just being able to just pray and talk to God about everything that was going on and know that He's always with me. I remember that being just really crucial. I can't imagine going through that injury and that recovery or any trial in my life for that matter without the Lord. So it just shifts things, and it's a different kind of classroom to learn a lot of lessons. I remember hearing a quote that says, pain is a megaphone for God, because He
That's
does speak a lot. I remember when I was going through the wheelchair, I mean, I had students who would say, Miss Fries, can I wheel you around? And so they would push me to my other class and things like that. And I have some comical moments throughout it, but I had some really solid, good friends who really just sacrificially loved me, and God allowed me to have that time of receiving love, which is, you almost don't have an option, and sometimes it's hard to be served when you really love to serve others. But I remember in that time, it was so obvious to me who had the gift of service, because it was so immediate when people would say, can I get your drink? Can I bring this to you? Or the people who didn't even ask, they just did it. And I just remember being so much more encouraged, because that is a gift that people have told me that I have of service, is I can't wait to be better so that I can do this for somebody else. And my roommate went through a surgery, and she borrowed our crutches, and I got to help her out in ways that I was so thankful that I got to. And it was just such an answer to prayer of, help, let me get better so that I can actually propel forward even more in service, and thank God for the ability to walk so that I can help others. And I was invited to a conference with Johnny and friends. Johnny Erickson Tata, she has a testimony. When she was about 18, she got in a diving accident and she became a quadriplegic. And I read some of her biography, but she was leading this global conference with people from all over the world who were all wanting to help out with the ministry of just people who are handicapped, had disabilities of all different kinds. And they didn't even know at the time that I was on crutches. And so initially I thought, they must know. Like, word must get around that I'm in a wheelchair. I'm now, more of an interest to this group of people. And when I go in on my crutches, I'm just looking around and going, these are my people, these are the people who actually get me finally, when you're going through life and so many people don't get it. I just remember being so touched by that conference and being so encouraged to help out with special needs. And I can just say there's nothing that I did in that. There's some times in our lives where God gives us an experience that completely transforms us to care and love about people that we didn't necessarily plan on. Loving, I'm just talking about really having a heart for a group of people. And so I remember the first time that I actually helped out with a special needs ministry at our church, I was terrified. If I'm just being real, I'm not usually that afraid to go into new social settings. I can usually adapt well. I love learning about people, and I remember just being so scared, and I was just thinking, what if they know that I don't know what I'm doing, or what if I'm awkward? And obviously, just as it says, like, perfect love casts out all fear. So if you love, a lot of those fears dissipate, and you just learn how to adapt and love, and even just approach a situation like that with humility. But going through everything that I helped my mom through, and I myself went through, has given me such a different perspective of, it's better to just do something, even if it's the wrong thing. Sometimes if somebody's in a wheelchair or on crutches, you don't want to say the wrong thing because you don't want to hurt them or offend them. And the reality is, you're really just being filled with fear, and you're not allowing that opportunity to love somebody else. So even just going up and just saying hi, or treating somebody like a human being, or asking, I think that's something that sometimes we're afraid to do in our pride is, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'd love to help you. How can I help you? Because I don't know what would be helpful. And something like that is just something that can be so appreciated, where you don't come in your pride and assume, but just that taking that time to just ask, it really can be impactful in somebody's life.
So true, so true.
So yeah.
So another thing that I learned was tools that are available, because when you're not needing something, you don't realize that you need it. And then the simplest of things, like not being able to put a sock on, or having it's funny, but it's not funny.
It really is funny.
Or, reaching for something but can't get it because it's just out of your reach. And because you're not able to be as mobile, you have to figure out ways to get things done. And so I had a Kaiser assistant who came to me and said, "Oh, we have a way to get your sock on." And I was just in amazement because, like, I've been sitting here this whole time with my foot bare, and my foot is freezing. And I can remember back when I was going through all of this with the knee brace on and you know, taking my meds on the right time and all of that, and keeping my leg, you know, slanted upward, and, you know, just all the things that you have to do. And I couldn't put weight on my leg for, I think it was 4 months. 4 months I could not put weight on my leg. And the first time I actually put my foot down to where I could touch something on the bottom of my foot was in a pool. And that was amazing, that I could just feel something touching the bottom of my foot besides socks. And it was just a great feeling. And then just physical therapy and going through learning how to walk all over. My leg was completely atrophied. There was no muscle left. It was all just the bone, the scar, I mean the stitches, the scar. I had to worry about all that, and it's still there. Not the stitches, but the scar. And building that muscle back up, it's still not built up all the way. And not being able to straighten my leg all the way is you know, it just is what it is. And it does not look the same as the other leg. And I used to, my legs were like my thing before, and now they're not so much my thing. But that's okay.
You have other things. That's
you know,
good.
it's just, it's great because I'm able to walk. I'm not able to run. For some reason, I'm not able to run. I don't know why that is. But I can dance. And that's the most important thing, is dance. And so there's a lot of other things that I probably could risk and take a chance or a gamble. But here's a lesson, is that you have to count the cost. And you have to think about, if I did that, what could be the outcome? The other thing is that a lot of the times I'm realizing more and more and more is that we have to appreciate every moment of our lives. Why? I didn't know that it was the last time I water skied. I did not know it was the last time I was ever going to get a water ski. The last time I snow skied, I can't even remember when it was. But the last time I snow skied, I had no idea. Do you think it would have changed my appreciation if I would have known this is going to be the last time I get to go down this mountain? It's the last time I'm going to hear the swish swish of snow. I think that it would have a higher level of experience if I realized it was the last time I danced with a certain person. I didn't realize that was the last time I was going to dance with that person. If I would have realized it was the last time I was going to dance with that person, would it have been heightened as far as an experience? So if we're thinking about that, even the simple thing like hugging or I love you, it could be the last time. Mm-hmm. It could absolutely be the last time when she leaves here. You know, it's like scary to me, but it's like it could be the last time. So we want to make the most out of every experience, every moment, especially with our relationships. Make the most of every minute you have. And you have to make them. You have to make them because sometimes life just gets busy. Mm-hmm. And you have to take time to really experience and really, really, really experience that moment and be present.
The most important thing, I guess I've learned in my life so far, is just that if anybody out there just has never known Jesus Christ as their Savior, that would be my one thing. It doesn't matter who's on this TV show. It doesn't matter if my mom's speaking or if I'm speaking. The most important message that I could be honored enough to give you is that Jesus does love you. Truly, truly loves you. Unlike anybody else in this world has ever loved you. He's not a man that he should lie or that he should, I don't know, just disappoint you like people do. And putting your hope in people, putting your hope in wealth, in marriage. For any of you singles out there who are waiting for marriage or just thinking you're going to be happy as long as or just as soon as you find the love of your life or that person, I can give you that hope that you don't need to wait for that to find true joy and true happiness in your life. That you really do have a maker. A man, if you're a woman, he is your husband. He is the husband of the church, and he does love you in a way that nobody else can. And I can say all these things, but it really isn't going to hit home until you experience his love for yourself. So really the abundant life that you're looking for, in sex, in money, in alcohol, in whatever social status that you're chasing after right now, can I just encourage you that it's chasing after the wind, that all of this stuff is going to burn. All of it is. And there's nothing else that's going to remain other than your relationship with Christ. And so if you are not right with the Lord right now, please just take this invitation to talk to him. If you're angry at God because something has happened in your life, talk to him about it. He knows your thoughts from afar. He already knows what you're going through. And so if you've never even talked to him, if you've never even heard from him, I just encourage you, why not try it out tonight? Ask him, who are you? What is your name? Ask him to show you who he is. And he says, when you seek, you will find him. When you seek him with all your hearts. And there's nothing more important than I can tell you than that. So thank you for joining us.
Can I have a hug?
Yeah.
I love you.
Can I enjoy this moment? This might be our last moment.
Oh, stop. Don't say that.
I'm just
I know,
I'm
I
applying
know.
what we talked about.
I know you have to embrace every moment. Embrace every moment.